I'm in for something a little more mellow. Let's do some Summertime. Much better. Whoever's eating their mic, it's not good for you. It's not good for you at all. Don't eat your mic. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show, everybody. Big, busy night. We got a lot to talk about. Leroy is going to try to share what he can share, and whatever Leroy can't share, I'll share. If I can share it, so we can share together in the sharing. Hopefully.
That wasn't confusing at all.
Well, that's because it was Kamala speak. We're all getting used to it, right?
That's true.
Right? We share because the sharing is sharifical to the shares of sharing our shared experiences. How's that?
Perfect.
Thoughts,
totally
though?
Understandable.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Pretty easy to
Clear as
understand.
mud.
We're talking about George Stephanopoulos and Byron Donaldson. Donalds. Not Donaldson. It's Sam Donaldson. It's a long story. Talking about that interview that just went south. Kamala Harris, some more leaked footage where she calls herself a bitch. This will be fun. It's not like we didn't know anyway. I mean, that's fine. Then we've got some Meltdown City. We're going to analyze some video. I was going to show Bill Burr roasting, just obliterating Bill Maher. I mean, oh my God, like it was ruthless. It was uncomfortable. But then you've got to understand is that they're both comedians, and Maher knew what he was going to get. Bill Burr is a roasting comic. It's what he does. And so I think Bill played a little possum, because if Bill was truly pissed, Bill would say something, because I've seen him pissed. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me show. We'll see you guys in a few seconds. Be right back. Step into a Wimkin. When we made the Documents of Freedom collection, we had no idea how popular it would be, selling almost 150 units. We had to come up with something else, and we thought the Republic for which it stands would be a great testament to the first. We went back to pfcflag.com and Jason and team because they did such a great job with the box the first time. They surpassed their original creation. We started with the Book of Virtue from Benjamin Franklin, one of his great literary works, and then followed it up with the American flag. It's all about etiquette and pride, how to take care of the flag and the one you own. The Emancipation Proclamation by Abraham Lincoln also. These books are encased in leather bound, they are hardback, and they are beautiful. They're available right now for $74.99, and this is a limited run. They will ship September 1st. We can't wait for you to get yours.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The DUM Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Let me know when you're up on
Already
your
am.
pin. Okay.
Think I already got it. You let me know. Are we up?
As of right now, no.
Well, it should be now. Give it a second. Welcome to the Don't Unfriend Me Show, everybody. How are you? It has been a good weekend. How was everybody's weekend? Everybody have a good weekend? Solid weekend? Bad weekend? How was the weekend?
Yeah.
I had a fantastic weekend.
Tell us about your weekend, Amy.
I'm trying to think what we did. I don't even remember.
Okay. Leroy, tell us about your... Go ahead. Tell us about your weekend.
Me?
Somebody, for the love of God, somebody do something.
I actually have a great story, and I was going to share this later on. My wife, being the amazing person that she is, every year she goes up to Cleveland and she takes part in a golfing kind of event where it's a fundraising thing. And at the conclusion of the event, they always donate most of the money towards a foundation. And so her and her sisters, cousins, all of the women in the family, they get together and they hand out drinks and do that kind of thing. That's their kind of donation towards the event. And so they all got shirts. And my wife, being the non-ladylike person that she is, they were all looking at hot pink shirts on Amazon, this kind of thing. And like her cousin had this hot pink t-shirt with golf balls that were right on the boobs, kind of thing. And they were all meant to be kind of funny. My wife didn't go for the hot pink because she's not very ladylike. So she just went and bought a black t-shirt without even reading it. So she gets this shirt in literally the day before she has to drive up there. Shirt comes in, she opens it up. Oh my God, it says 19th hole, and it's an arrow straight down to her crotch. That's my wife. 19th hole. Awesome. So she wore it. She went. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's freaking awesome.
I hope there's photos of this.
There is. I'll send them to you. Not to be.
So, I just want to make sure anatomically we're correct here. Are she 19th hole and then went ahead and skipped to the 21st hole, or did she mean the 20th hole? Because
I think
if the arrow is here and the arrow's in her breast, right? And it's going down, and 19th hole.
Right here. Yeah.
Cool. 19th would be the belly button. 20th would be the rough in the vagina, and then the sand pit would be 21, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Well, that one's reserved for me. So
got it, Roger. I just want to make sure I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, because that would begin a conversation. I'd be like, excuse me, I have a question anatomically.
That's where the
if
putter
your shirt
goes.
is,
yeah.
That's it's a good shirt. It's a good shirt. That's great. So she didn't read it.
No, she didn't know anything about it until the day she opened it.
That's awesome.
The package, meaning.
Well, I'm glad you had a good weekend. Liv, how was our weekend?
Well, it started off on Friday night with, we find out Ethan's been lying to us for a month, sneaking electronics, been lying to us the whole time. And so, yeah, we cleared out Hayden's old bedroom, and he had her bed and some books, and he had to. He got
into a little bit of trouble, a little bit of growing up conversation, and he did. He honestly he did some growing up this weekend. I'll tell you that much.
But I did on Saturday. I got all the back to school shopping done, which is awesome because I waited till like 2 days before school last year. But Ethan's was all online, which was great, and Hayden of course had to try and close. But it's all done except for haircuts and Hayden's school supplies, which I have no idea what she's going to need till after the first 2 days of school. So,
well, good. It sounds like everyone had a great. Candace, thank you. We were just going to talk about that, Candace. You're amazing, folks. We're at 203.96, a little bit behind the 8 ball. That's okay. Our goal is $3,500 this month. It's the 5th, and we have a lot of faith. If we average about 125, 150 a night, we'll hit it. and we appreciate everything you do. We have never asked for donations. This is the 4th month. We've hit it all 4 months. For the first 3.5 years, we were focused on Facebook, and they were doing great helping us out. And now Facebook has nothing, absolutely zilch, nada.
Thank you, Chevelle.
Thank you, Chevelle.
Thank you, Val.
I think we're averaging probably $2 a day on Facebook, and that's insane with as much interactions as we get. It just hasn't been great. So your help helps us. By the way, the sequel to the Documents of Freedom is officially been selling like crazy. It is right here. The Republic for Which It Stands, with all 3 books. Comes with the American Flag Etiquette, which is an amazing book. Emancipation Proclamation, obviously, Abraham Lincoln. And the Book of Virtues. This is probably my favorite one, and you would think that it would be the other 2, but no, the Book of Virtues by Benjamin Franklin. It's pretty incredible. You got to take a read. So do that, and we're pretty excited about it. So there's that. The application is still in progress. Jason is working on that. We should have that here hopefully in the next few days, and be ready to announce it. So there is that. And with no further ado, we're gonna go ahead and mosey. If you would like to help the show, linktapgo.com/thedumshow. You just click that, click donate, and you can tip live, or you can donate, and Olivia will catch it in the email, and she'll let you all know. All of the boxes went out today, so there is no more Documents of Freedom. Documents of Freedom is officially sold out indefinitely. We have sold out Applewood books of all 3 of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. Can't get them anymore. So unless they do another run, this is where we're at. So we'll let you know what we find out. But it's great time to get the For Which It Stands shirt, our box set. Okay, great. Let's get into it tonight. We got a lot. Leroy, are we going to war? Amy, thank you, Amy.
Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you, Amy.
Are we going to war? Boy, is that a loaded question, pun intended.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I would venture to say probably not, although there may be some retaliatory strikes in the very near future. We'll see.
What would push us over the limit and would get us in a full-scale conflict?
Boy, I think if any of our ships were hit, the government is pretty sensitive about our ships, about our U.S. Navy. Any attacks that happen there, we tend to overreact.
Matt.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Thank you,
Matt.
Matt.
So let me ask a hypothetical question. With a proportional response, can you explain to us what a proportional response is, or a proportionate or proportional? There's actually a difference between proportionate and proportional. So can you just give us the one definition?
Sure. So if one of our ships gets attacked, if somebody launches a missile or a drone or something along those lines, typically the most appropriate response would be to launch a retaliatory strike, i.e. either a missile or something along those lines, into the area or the base, its point of origin, in order to destroy any infrastructure or potential enemy combatants or personnel that may be responsible for having launched said missile towards the United States or our resources, our ships. A overreaction, which is interesting, is when instead of just attacking that singular facility, now we start targeting multiple facilities, multiple locations with different weapons that we have at our disposal. Fair?
So that's very fair. If there's an attack on Al-Assad Air Force Base in Iraq, what would a proportionate response be, considering that if there were casualties to American personnel, which there have been, I mean, a casualty doesn't mean dead. Casualty means a casualty of the attack, which means they were injured in some way. Right. What would be a proportional response to that?
Generally speaking, it's not dissimilar from what I just described. It's where we would hunt down that point of origin, track where that attack came from, and then systematically kill all of the people that were responsible for said attack. That would be the most likely if not appropriate,
Fair
retaliation.
enough. Okay. Next question, if you don't mind that I continue to ask the questions that I already know the answers to. What if that attack took place from within Iran?
Now we start getting into some meat and bones. So if there is evidence that hardcore can be proven, hey, this missile, this rocket, this whatever the hell came from within the borders of Iran, it will, at first, it should turn probably diplomatic for about 10 seconds. And then what should happen is a appropriate attack on multiple Iranian outposts. That would be my guess. Now, it is conceivable that things could escalate quickly. And, nobody wants that, but you also just can't sit by the sidelines and let everyone attack and then not respond, because that projects weakness. So we have to get back to a point not dissimilar from the 70s, the 60s and 70s, where if there was an attack, well, first of all, nobody would attack us because they knew that the response would be dramatic. Does that make sense?
Yes. So right now, to Katyusha, which is Russian, if I believe, or it's Katyusha, not it's Katyusha. It's Katyusha or Katyusha? It's Katyusha.
I don't know. I don't know that.
It's Katyusha rockets on Monday were fired at Iraq's Ain al-Assad air base, which hosts U.S. and other international forces in western Iraq. Security sources said it was not clear if the attack caused any casualties or damage inside the base. That was 4 hours ago. You can see some smoke rising up from that base as well, which isn't extremely clear. I got to get out of Safari. Safari is just complete dog shit, folks.
Oh, it's been so bad lately.
It's broken. It's just completely fucking broken. Anyway, it looks like origination is Haditha. I'll have to check and see if this is correct. 1 second. It is. It's Haditha. It looks like if what I'm seeing from the reporting is correct, it is coming from northern Iraq, central northern Iraq, northwest of Baghdad, which would be in this area, which would surprise me that that's where the origination would come from. That's surprising, especially for a man-pad or a portable missile system, which is actually fairly, although difficult, would have to come a long way to be there without getting seen by our drones and everything else. Go ahead, Amy.
I did not hear any of this today. It's been a day. So for us who are not, I haven't heard any of this. I have no idea what's going on, and you guys are talking like way above my pay grade, which is nothing.
Yeah, sure.
Can you
I got it.
drop it down for me, like a little bit?
I got it. I got it for you. Iran go boom boom.
Yeah.
Iran go boom boom and make boom boom in Iraq's, France, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Germany, United States, Israel's pants. So the problem with El Asad Air Base is that it's housed to about 7 different countries that are all within the network of predominant European countries and Muslim countries in the Middle East. So there is some information that I have that I don't know if has been released yet, but it's my understanding that Marcon called United Arab Emirates. Now, why is that important? Let's see if Leroy wants to take a stab at it. Why would Marcon call the United Arab Emirates?
Because
what
they
would
have
be
more money than anybody else?
No, that's not it. It's not money. This is the United Arab Emirates right here, UAE. Dubai
Oil?
is right here. Nope, not oil.
Has something to do with that strait right there, right?
That's not a strait. That's actually that's a dog leg, and it's one of the reasons why the Persian Gulf. Once you're in it, you better make sure that these coastal batteries all along here from Iran are neutralized. Otherwise, you're gonna have a fun day. Leroy, why would Macron call United Arab Emirates, which is the French president, by the way, everybody, French president?
I am trying to pick up what you're laying down. My immediate thought is that the largest Iranian naval base sits right across from there. If you zoom into that area, I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
There, and it's considered the most famous pier in the world. What's the name of it though? Shit. Why am I drawing a blank on that?
I'm the only one I know is Kuwait, but is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking about you talking about UAEs or Iranian naval?
No, Iranian.
Salak is there. Bandar is there.
Bandar Abbas.
Bandar Abbas is probably that is the biggest, and then there's Salak is on the other side. Okay, you know this. Go ahead.
So my guess is that he is either measuring to see what the response, because if there's going to be a response, it's going to come from there. But I'm not sure exactly what you were trying to.
No, it is what I'm saying. You're going to be in those waters, and if you're going to hit a naval base, you're going to have to get UAE's permission. Not permission, but you want to notify them of what's going to take place. They aren't necessarily a super ally. They do house a lot of terrorism, but UAE is considered to be a non-hostile country to us, even though they do house terrorists. You want to go ahead and let them know that there is going to be some sort of response in that area. That's why you call. There's a reason why that this area right here from Iran, and if you take a look, oh God, they got it. If you take a look at Iran, it's right here, and you can see how large it is, especially over the Gulf. And this entire area is probably the most susceptible for Iran. That's why they have it absolutely the most well defended. Their integrated air defense systems, CSC-3 Silkworms are there. They haven't been upgraded in years, but those are anti-ship missiles. Everything right there is predominantly, along with mines and sea mines and whatever navy they have, which is infinitesimal, is right there. And that's because if you're going to have a land war in Iran, you're not going to send in paratroopers because integrated air defense systems are fairly robust. You're probably going to do bombardment from there, Tomahawk launches from there, along with hitting them from the Black Sea and then hitting them from the southern Indian Ocean. But this is where you need to go if you want to attack Iran. And the reason why this is such a huge thing is if we take a look, this is what they're navigating. This tiny little bend, this knee, and surprisingly enough, when you zoom in, it does actually look very much like a knee, is a very slow and difficult from the sense of if you're having to navigate and you're going through it, you want to make sure you have permission of the country right there because you don't want any conflict. One, you don't want Iran putting mines there. Second, you don't want UAE deciding that they're going to go ahead and launch their coastal batteries at the Navy when we go by. So there's a lot here. So there's something going on from a larger standpoint. 57 U.S. Navy vessels in the area is a lot. Leroy will tell you. Leroy, how many more is that than the Gulf? Can you give an idea?
Nope.
Yeah, it's about double. It's about double. So
I know just enough about what we in the community would call the order of battle. Matt knows what I'm talking about. It's basically an inventory list of everything that a particular country would have. And you can break that down into air order of battle or Navy order of battle or electronic, right? And I know I have enough of an intimate knowledge with Iranian order of battle that I don't feel comfortable saying anything beyond that.
Sure.
But I would say this: if that response comes, Iran would probably be set back if it was full force. They would be set back at least 5 to 10 years.
And then if they go from an economic standpoint,
yeah, then it's more.
I'm
just talking in terms of equipment.
Yeah. From equipment standpoint, I mean, let's be completely transparent. Iran is touting a few things, and one of the things they're touting is Leroy's going to get a kick out of this. I don't know if this hit flash traffic tonight. I'm sure it did. I'm sure you guys saw this. I bet you're not going to tell me that, and I don't want you to tell me that. So assume what I'm saying is rhetorical. Here is Iran's horrible video of their message they're sending to Israel.
Okay.
Is there sound with this, or?
Okay, so it's not doing sound. Okay, hold on.
I just didn't know, but yeah, I don't hear it.
No,
I don't hear anything.
There's absolutely supposed to be sound. Unfortunately, this is what's been happening since they reset my thing.
A ticking clock, and
do you hear that now?
Yeah.
Okay, Amy, here you go. Typical. I'm surprised there weren't any burning eagles in that video. I've seen our Mount Rushmore on fire or the Wailing Wall, turn into liquid glass. Go ahead, Leroy. Then I have a comment.
The last time this happened, and I'm just going to stick to what I know from mainstream media, from ABC, NBC, that kind of thing. The last time this kind of thing happened, the news had reported that Iron Dome and all of the defenses out of Israel had caught most of that. The Iron Dome and most of those defenses are still there, folks. So whatever they intend on launching, if I were Iran and we're serious about this, having not thought things all the way through, I would expect nearly nothing to get through, for one. And two, having pissed off Israel to that extent, the repercussions would be severe. That's all I'm going to say.
So it's really interesting. It's not just the Iron Dome as well, right? You got David's sling. You have direct energy weapons that are used at lower altitudes that aren't as strong. Arrow 2, Arrow 3. They've got Patriot-based systems, Javelin-style systems for more low trajectory aircraft. I mean, they've got everything they need to do the job. But there's two things that people need to know. I'm going to tell you something, and I'm not going to mention any names. So I'm gonna see if Leroy fucking jumps off the channel.
I should probably fucking step away for a second.
Not this one. No, this one's not that bad. This one's okay because you can piece this together. But this is confirming. Okay. I'm going to ask Leroy a series of questions that are completely unclassed and in the media, and he's going to answer them. Leroy, when they launched the hundreds of drones and what they claimed was ICBMs and cruise missiles at Iran, out of Israel, what was Israel's response? Can you tell us the unclassed news version of what Israel did, or no?
I'm trying to recall what the unclassified.
Let me give you the unclassified. 3 targets they hovered over with their own drones, broach airspace of Iran, unbeknownst to Iran, and then literally signaled and flipped on their radar and started squawking to let Israeli air defense know that they were over all three major targets. One was the home of a high-end official. Another one was a nuclear facility, sorry, dropping the U. And the other was an undisclosed location, air base. And all three of these locations said, we can fucking kill you anytime we want. And then they subsequently shot these drones down. That's what took place. That was Israel's measured, proportionate, non-proportional response. They just said, we're going to show you what will happen. With this latest attack that killed the 12 kids, they successfully assassinated one of the major negotiators for Hamas and took that person out. Thank you, Stump.
Mr. Stumpy.
Thanks, Stumpy.
Without so much as a by your leave. Now, Leroy, in your unclassified estimation, do you believe that Israel, in any way they want, could take out the clerics, the Ayatollah, the Shah, and any high-ranking officials in Iran that they wanted to in a blink?
I do believe that, actually.
Okay, great. So now what we need to understand is the degradation of Iran's forces, because that wasn't true 15, 20 years ago. Their technology, their defense systems have not kept up with the current technology. And although they were firing a 22 versus a 223 or a 556, now they're firing a BB gun versus a 50 cal or a 308. And the technology, although they can still do damage with the amount of ordnance that they have and overwhelm a target if they choose to, their technology does not keep up with most countries that have a standing military that are worth their salt. Now, the second thing, and then we're going to move on for the ladies, is Iran made a declaration that they have a nuclear bomb. What?
Very, very bad.
That's what they say. I can assure you, from my understanding and my knowledge, that Iran does not possess a nuclear warhead. And if they did have a nuclear warhead, we would already know because they would have used it. I can't guarantee anything, but it certainly didn't come from Iran's capability of making themselves. Now, if a nuclear power wanted to sell one on the black market, or if Jack Ryan wasn't available that night and they somehow got it from an A4 Skyhawk from Israel in 1967, I can't tell you whether that happened. But what I can tell you is Iran is pontificating, is bolstering, and is flapping its gums because they know damn well that whatever happens next will probably be their last retaliatory strike without having to pay the piper in a very large scale. And here's the issue. And then I'm going to let Leroy finish and then any questions. Iran is going to, Persia is going to lose face with their proxies. If they do not respond and kill Jews, then you lose control of proxies. And then Iran is in a completely different situation. The one thing that they have is to be able to push away things from their table and push it onto the proxies. But the proxies are getting a little irate. The Yemenis Houthis are very, very unhappy with Iran. Hamas is unhappy because they're all fucking dead. But the IRGC is sitting off to the side. The JIP, the Muslim Brotherhood, are watching. But Hezbollah is now in a situation, which is the strongest standing terrorist group that Iran possesses. It used to be Hamas was second. Well, Hamas is no longer. They're still, of course, a threat from Hamas, but it's no longer a considerable one. But Hezbollah is now at the point where they're saying, we're kind of going the way of the Yemenis because we have pushed 80 miles into northern Iran. We have relocated 175,000 Jews to flee to the outside walls of Jerusalem. And we have made a push. It is time to strike because we're here and we've done the work. And Iran is like, we don't want to go to war with Israel. And Israel's like, you don't want to go to war with us. And America's like, just nobody go to war with anybody right now until we win the election. Right. And this is what we've got. So I'm wrapping this up right now, 10 seconds. It's the old adage of the Roman soldier sitting across from the Greeks, and they're in the open battlefield, and the snake goes across the battlefield. And as they both had a peace treaty, the Roman commander pulls out his sword to cut the head off the snake, and the war ensues. This is where we're at. I mean, this is Cuban Missile Crisis. This is very, very tense right now. And one stupid fucking commander from Hezbollah or the Yemenis, Houthis, can fire this whole fucking keg stand off. I'm done, Leroy, and then we'll move on.
I would agree with you, and I would just remind everyone that entire area, Iraq, Iran, Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, Syria, they have been warring with each other for thousands of years.
Yeah, 25 plus.
Now, what Matt is saying is absolutely spot on. Right now, American politicians are begging. Well, nobody wants war, right?
Yeah, they do. Lindsey fucking Graham wants war.
You're going to have some, right? Let me finish. You're going to have some that are like thinking to themselves, oh, this would be politically advantageous if shit were to light off right now because, hey, we're 3.5 years into this administration and shit has just been, pardon the pun, but it's been a bombshell, right? So you're going to have some people that are like that, but most people don't want war. But right now, every Democrat in DC is praying to God that nothing happens because with each one of these types of attacks where there's several dozen or hundreds of missiles and rockets launched all at once, when that hits the news, it reaffirms to the American public that, since Biden or since the Democrats have come into power, the world has just fallen to shit. And Matt and I have talked about this in the past. What was the name of that guy? Alan Lichtman.
Yep.
Like when there's chaos,
steps. Yep.
It is not advantageous to the incumbent. So I think tomorrow's going to be bad. Between that and the stock market today,
And the stock market, I did a video this morning. If you haven't seen it, go watch it, please, because it explains. Did you watch it, Leroy?
I caught part of it.
You should really watch the whole thing. It goes through from 1920s all the way till today. The conflicts that usually, the predilection of war, the clairvoyance is usually stocks and 401ks going down, big tech because aluminum, plastics, circuitry is going to be purchased by Lockheed Martin, and it shows that all the defense companies shoot up. So if from an economic standpoint, if you want, the prelude to war, it's simply watch the defense stocks and watch the tech sector, and they literally switch. This has happened. We are most assuredly going to war. It's a matter of how much we go to war and how involved we get. And I will tell you, the one thing that will kick this thing off like a Roman candle in a fireworks stand or a flare in a fireworks stand is if Hezbollah launches an attack on Jerusalem. We are there for one reason only, to take a bullet. So we have probable reason and recourse to institute air and land superiority in that sea, air, and land superiority in that entire region. And trust me when I say this, we will execute that with a judicious and swift justice. You don't put 57 ships in that area, in that tight of an area, you could literally throw a rock off the coast of Yemen and hit a U.S. ship. That is not something you do unless we're ready to go. And it sends a message. This is it, boys. We got our makeup on. We got our freaking dress. We got our corsage. We're ready to go to prom. Don't pick us up in the limo. Don't do it. And we'll see what they do. But Iran has to respond. And the question is, will it be a full-throated or will it be a half-ass attempt with a 7-hour warning? I mean, Leroy
Roland.
and I
Thank
knew
you,
about it a
Thank you,
day
Roland.
before. Thank you, Roland. A day before we knew. Everybody knew. It was like a tropical storm coming out of frickin' Africa. Everyone's like, we got 7 days before Iran goes ahead and launches this attack. I don't think it's going to be like that. I think what Leroy said is that it will be more of a surprise. And I will tell you that there's going to be some Iranians that are going to get killed over this. Not necessarily civilians. I think there's going to be a regime change simply by assassinating leaders. And I don't think Iran understands how fucking serious Israel is. So anyway, that's where we're at. Questions from the panel, ladies? I know you want to move on. We are going to.
There was a question from an audience member.
Okay.
Is this threat of war affecting the stock market?
Yes.
I have a question, and I literally just forgot. I'm sorry. It's been like a really weird day for me. I
Yes.
swear my brain was working yesterday. I know my question. Sorry. Historically, from what I understand, most of the time if we are at war or there's a conflict, we keep the incumbency going. So I would think that Kamala would want this. But am I wrong? No, she does. Okay, so I don't know.
She doesn't. No, it's not that you don't know. Leroy will answer it, and then I'm going to try to be a good boy. I've been trying to hand it off tonight. So Leroy, go ahead and answer that question of why Kamala does not want a open conflict where the U.S. gets drawn into a sea battle. No, not a sea battle. Sorry, air battle via sea, and with no troops on the ground, because we wouldn't put any troops in the ground. Well, we would put the teams to hit the CSE-3s, but otherwise, we wouldn't give a shit.
Sure. I think there's several things that are happening here all at once. The fact of the matter is that, to Amy's point, generally speaking, the left does tend to like conflict more. The problem with this one is that we went from 4 years of relative peace, and then in the last 3.5 years, we've seen just this absolute everything just fucking falling apart. And because we're only less than 90 days out from the general election, because it's so close, there's going to be no way to not only for Americans to forget about it in that short of a period of time, but also it's affecting the stock market, to your point. And the one thing that is the constant throughout every election is that when the economy fucking falls apart, when people's 401ks start being affected, then most of Americans will agree, all right, time for a change of the watch. So I think that's a bigger part of it. But you're right, Amy. Generally speaking, they do like war.
Michelle, I just went ahead and put the link to the video. Oh shit, I'm in preview mode. Hold on. Sorry, I need a break. Sec. When Joe Biden was president, that is much different than Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
And can everyone see the screen okay? Everyone's got a picture?
We can't. I see us, but I don't see anything else.
Us.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
Yeah. Do you have something up that you're trying to show us?
Explain what you just said to me. What?
Do you have something up?
No. You just said something about seeing. I don't understand. Tell me what you're seeing.
Is everyone seeing
No, tell me
this?
what you're seeing.
I see us, the four of us.
I don't
That's all
understand. Do you see words? Do you see the banners? Do you see the videos? Do you see?
I see our normal screen, the four of us, the Link Tepco, the Wimkin, everything we're supposed to see. What we're curious, because you said, can you see this?
No. It says it's in preview mode, and I don't know what preview mode is.
Gotcha.
I'm freaking out because I'm like, I wonder if we just lost it. Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. I wasn't trying to be rude. I'm just like, I don't understand. By the way, you guys, real quick, thank you, honey. this is something that you guys need to know. I have made it really simple for you to find our show. And it drives me crazy. Not that Michelle is in trouble or anything. It just drives me crazy when people say, how do I find the show? It's been 4 years, folks. It's like it's everywhere, right? It's on Facebook. It's on Twitter. But worst comes to worst, just go to thedumshow.com and click show right here. And then click watch.
We can't see that.
Okay, this is what I was asking you.
Well, that's why I was saying is, are you trying to show us something, a map or a picture? That's what I was asking.
I most assuredly am. Can you please say
cannot
ECAM, how to turn off preview mode? Can you please do that for me as soon as humanly possible? I will look here. Could you please look there?
Yes.
Also, you can just Google the DUM show and it comes right up too with all of our socials and website.
Yeah, let me try to find this thing. ECAM, ECAAM. Why is this in preview mode?
You can click the back to live mode button in the bottom left corner of the screen.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
There it is. Okay, it's coming. Everyone see it now?
No.
Okay, give it a second. Give it a second. It's coming. No. Do you see us? Do you see us? Do you see us?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Now, do you see?
Yes.
There we go.
There we go. Okay, good. Okay. See, sorry. You guys, I'm not seeing what you're seeing. All right. So if you come, it's okay, everybody. We're getting it. But if you come to the show, all of the shows are right here. Every single show up to like back to 350 are all right here. Go to Rumble if you want every single show. But they're all on my website. And you can literally, I mean, it's that easy. Show's loaded. Here it is. Today's show. Okay? If you like that, we have this is all coming to the app, right? The app is going to, every show, every live show, every podcast, everything we've ever done is going to be right there at your fingertips, okay? But if you come here and you want to go, okay, well, I want to watch the most recent live show, here it is. Every single live show right here. You can just keep loading them and watch them to your little heart's content, okay? You want to listen to them? Same thing. I mean, we have worked our butts off to make this as fluid and easy. Here's every single podcast. They're all right. You can just go on all day. All day. All day. You want to listen to every podcast? They're all here. Every effing podcast. Every show I've ever done is right here. Every show. 100. Number one all the way till now. There, you don't have video, but you have podcast. Okay? So that's how you do that. And soon you're going to have an app that you're going to put on your phone, and it's going to look just like that. And you're going to be, oh, I want to play the show. Boom. And you're going to watch it right there. Okay? Coming soon to a theater near you. I know. We're working hard. I can't wait to get
this app. It sounds fucking legit, amazing. I want it.
It is.
I want it now.
Awesome. I know. I do too. I want it now.
Question about the app too, and maybe this is probably not an automatic feature that we're going to have, but will there be like a way to communicate with DUM members?
Yes. It's automatic. Okay, cool. It's already built in. Oh. It'll be essentially Facebook Messenger for us. You get to pick your picture. You can upload videos. You can upload photos. You can upload a sound message, and it's a full chat. And you you just put your name in, put your picture up there, and we can all chat together. And it will just be a full chat interface. The DUM Club will be all from the app. We can send out messages, tell you when we're going live, tell you when a new show drops, when a new article drops, maybe invite you guys to the Saturday DUM Club or give you guys 20% off the show just for fun. Maybe do a raffle or a giveaway. We can tell you, hey, we're going live because we got breaking news. All of it right there. It's all available through the app. And it is a high end. This is not a cheap, shitty little app. This is, Olivia's seen it. It's effing badass.
And there is no charge for the app.
It's free.
So you know.
It's free. 100%.
Oh, I thought you were going to do like $1 or something. No.
Nothing. Free. No, not charging you a penny. I'm not charging anymore for articles. We're not charging for that. We're asking you to donate. That's what we're asking you to do. We don't want to charge you. We don't want money from corporations. I don't want to be beholden to anyone. If I'm going to be beholden to anyone, it's my fans. It's our fans. So we're not charging. You can go to our news page now. No articles. Or not an ad. Sorry. Ads. You can listen to our show. The only thing we have ads on is the podcast, but the reason we do that is because the podcast does fairly well financially, and we don't want to mess with that. But right now, and we're going to go into our next segment here, but thanks for letting me take a little bit of time. But if you go to news, There's only one thing we ask you, and we ask you for your email address. Join us and subscribe. So every time we post an article, you can see it. But if you go, I mean, you're talking daily articles, and these are not shit. I mean, I take time writing these things. We don't mess around. But if you go into these articles, you can see pictures, shows, links. There's not one ad. It's all us. It's don't unfriend me stuff. But we don't do any spam. It's free. Nobody does that. You go to Fox, there's ads. You go to CNN, there's ads. We don't have ads. So I'm working real hard. We are working hard. And Wimkin is empowering us. I mean, this is all because of Wimkin.com that they're doing this. They're helping us get to that next level. And we're becoming one of their biggest shows. And it's because of Jason and his team. So if you have not been to Wimkin, this is going to be a big part of the app. We're going to put a lot of our videos are going to go through there. At some point, I'm switching and dropping Facebook's videos, and I'm going to put them all on Wimkin. So head on over to Wimkin and get signed up if you would not mind. Fair enough?
Yes.
All right.
Fair enough.
We have a lot of people on. We've got some stuff to do, and we're getting a little bit behind. I want you to listen. We're going to spend 5 minutes on Kamala.
Oh.
5 minutes. I want you to listen to a couple things. Here's the first one.
And as a woman, there's a balance to be struck between being tough and being a bitch.
Oh my God. Send me that.
Turn that off.
She laughs at her own joke.
Send me that. I will repost that forever.
Yeah. The level of uncomfortability with that is incredible. I mean, the crowd didn't know what to do. You have to understand, not all Democrats are cursing and everything else. And they have principle. There are some principled Democrats out there. Here is another one, and then I want you guys to talk amongst yourself. And then I've got videos that are like 5 minutes that we're going to pick apart. We have to watch. I mean, you gotta listen to this. But watch this one.
We have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
Now, before we go, I want you to watch the blonde's face.
Thank you, Shane.
Holy shit,
Wow,
Shane.
Thank you so much, Shane. That was awesome.
Shane, thank you, brother.
Shane, thank you.
Appreciate you. Shane, come back. Okay, here we go. Watch the blonde.
We have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah. We have to stay woke.
It's a
little uncomfortable.
It's getting bad. So here's the question. The honeymoon period is going to be over soon, right? And I've been saying this for quite some time, that America is going to remember why they hate Kamala Harris. It's not going to take. Listen, if you had Grandpa Fudpucker representing you, and you're just like, there's no way we're going to fucking win. We're going to pretend we're going to win, but there's no way Biden's going to win. We don't like this guy. We can't get behind him. He's older than dirt. He was a private when God was a corporal. We can't do this. And then you get Kamala Harris. You're going to be elated. It doesn't matter. I mean, imagine swapping out Adolf Hitler with Ted Bundy. You're still going to find value in Ted Bundy. You're going to be like, well, at least he hasn't killed 11 million people. Just some sorority girls. I mean, they were asking for it because they were wearing 90s or something. You're going to go ahead and just kind of blow it off. And then you're going to realize, holy shit, we're rooting for a mass murderer. You're rooting for a socialist progressive in Kamala Harris who's dumb as dog shit. And you fucking hate her. And everyone knows it. And they're going to realize that. Olivia, Amy, you guys first, you ladies first. How long is this going to take before the wheels fall off the Kamala Harris campaign, which is in the honeymoon phases right now?
I think it's starting. The wheels are starting to wiggle a little bit. The media is going to try and keep it going as long as possible. They're going to try and carry it to the DNC, and when she announces her VP pick. But I think a week or so after the DNC, I think it's all going to start coming down. I think stuff's going to surface of her past, and people are going to start remembering who she is and why no one liked her in the first place. So I'm thinking by first, second week of September.
I think that's fine and fair. What do you think, Amy?
I don't know. I haven't really seen many people who are like all for her now, like getting dissuaded. I've actually seen the opposite, which is super concerning to me. Just as a human, I just can't. I've never liked this woman, bitch, whatever you want to call her, whatever she's calling herself. I've never cared for her on any level. I mean, I think her politics are horrible. She was never a good prosecutor. Like, she's just a horrible person. Honestly, I can't stand her laugh. I just don't like her. I just really don't like her. I would not have a beer with Kamala Harris. I wouldn't.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have a beer with Kamala Harris.
I wouldn't be able to get through like 2 minutes. She'd be like, she had that nervous laugh. If you can't talk on a stage to at an interview, an informal interview for like a show, how can you address the nation or other nations, especially with all the conflict going on? Are you going to think it's funny? Are you going to laugh when someone gets bombed or someone dies? Like, she's so inappropriate. I just can't stand this woman. But I have seen a lot of people who are like, well, what we would rather have her. So they're 100% backing her no matter what, because they hate Trump so much. And that's what I'm seeing. So I haven't seen it personally. I hope to God, and I have literally been praying for God to enlighten people and touch them and say, hey, please pick the person you think is on God's side. And I do not believe it is Kamala Harris at all whatsoever. So that's all.
I think her VP pick will make a difference, but she's in a pickle here. You got Kelly from Arizona. But first of all, Kelly and Shapiro are both moderates. And I know everyone, oh my God, Matt said nice things about Shapiro. I said that a good friend of mine who is an avid Republican met with him personally and did business with him and said that he was warm and affable and kind and showed him the time of day where the GOP did not. That is concerning, but he's a Jew. And the thing about it is he's a real Jew. There's real Jews and then there's fake Jews. A fake Jew is what Kamala Harris is married to. Now you go, Matt, that's horrible. How can you say that? That's so anti-Semitic. You know what? What's really anti-Semitic is her little daughter. And her daughter has raised $8 million for pro-Palestine Hamas groups. Would you like me to say that again? She has completely abandoned her Jewish upbringing and her heritage and her faith, and is completely supporting Hamas. Now, you know Kamala does that. She doesn't like the Jews. She openly admits it. So let me make sure I get this straight. You think Kamala Harris and her husband are the prototypical couple, the next Obamas, yet daughter raises money for Palestine. Harris does not care about the Jews in any way, shape, or form. So what does she think her own husband, unless her husband feels the same way? What are better odds, that he's standing alone and embracing his Jewish faith and heritage, or that he has followed in his wife and daughter's footsteps because he doesn't wear the fucking pants? And I don't know if you've ever seen them together, but trust me, that guy has a genital cuff.
I've never seen him at all, period. I didn't know he was actually a real person. I've never even seen a photo of him.
Yeah,
I knew she was married and had 2 stepkids, but that's all I know about her family.
right. Well, and now if you go ahead and you look at her next pick, there's 2 things. One is Josh Shapiro canceled a fundraising event for tomorrow, and he did that on Friday. That's a pretty big tell, okay? You don't cancel fundraising events. These things are made months and months and sometimes years and ahead of time. And second, Mark Kelly from Arizona, who is strong on the border, and another moderate who is the farthest thing from Kamala Harris. He doesn't support the teachers' unions, and he supports vouchers for schools. That's anti-union, folks. You ain't going to go ahead and get a vice presidency with anti-union, but he made a post on Twitter that he wants to focus on Arizona's, making it a great state and blah, 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 blah. And people think, well, he took that post down because the Harris campaign told him. Here's what it comes down to. We don't know who they're going to pick, but I promise you this, in the end, it's going to be a slippery, progressive dick. That's what's going to be picked. because Kamala Harris isn't going to pick a moderate. Go ahead, Leroy.
When we start looking at trends in terms of voting patterns, I will tell you that you could nail down every election to basically 4 qualities that a candidate has. And you're either voting for policy, or you're either voting for their personality, their likability, or you're voting against the other guy. So you're anti-policy and anti-personality. In Trump's case, it's obviously anti-personality because nobody can really make that comparison in terms of policy. Now, when we're talking about manipulating all of those factors, this is where the media comes in, right? And they can either talk up certain stories or suppress others. So I didn't know about the Kamala's kid raising $8 million. I didn't know that. And I wish more of that would get out. Now, I say that to say this, that if she ends up picking Shapiro, I think that is a brilliant move for the Democrat. Pennsylvania holds 19 electoral votes. It is a fracking state, right, that she had openly campaigned against in the past. So in order to retain some level of traction in that state, picking Shapiro is a pretty brilliant move. Right now, election betting odds still has Trump up. He's gone up nearly a point in the last day. He's at almost 52%. Harris is at 45%. Go ahead.
Listen, remember this. Fetterman has also denounced Shapiro and said Shapiro is a chameleon. And Fetterman, although has been kind of maybe not red pill, purple pill a little bit, and his poll isn't what it once was, but that's still a Democrat who's actually fairly popular in the state, saying no to Shapiro. Kamala cannot be outshined by her VP. That is the worst possible thing in the world. You can't do it. And when you do it, you have a losing ticket. You can't show them what they're going to be missing. Real quick. This is a lot of people have come back and said, no, Matt, she didn't raise. I went to a fact checker. Well, first of all, your problem is you went to a fact checker. Here's the fact checking and what they said. Post claiming Ella Emhoff raised $8 million to support Gaza needs context. Okay. The moment that they say needs context, they're fucking going to lie to you. And it says Kamala Harris' stepdaughter shared a fundraiser organized by the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund on Instagram. She didn't raise millions for Gaza on her own. It does when you literally have your mommy who has 62 million followers, okay? It does when you speak on behalf of these events. It does when you literally promote and hold mini rallies and fundraisers for these type of things, okay? So to sit here and say that she did not participate in fundraising for an $8 million charity for Palestinians, fuck that, for West Bankians and Hamas and UNRWA, she did. So you can sit here and pretend, but that's like saying, you know what? George Wallace never lynched a black person when he was in the Klan and he wanted to go ahead and promote the Klan, or Strom Thurmond or Byrd, because they didn't hang those black mother effers by their neck. He just said, kill them all. So you can't hold him accountable for that bullshit. If you give one penny to this fucking organization, you should seriously question if you should run for president. It's a terrorist organization. I don't give a shit. That's the way this works. So don't give me this. Verify. Give me a break. Missing context. Go ahead, Leroy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I only have about 30 seconds left in my thing. 538 just came out with a fresh set of polls today, and for the very first time that I can recall, they're actually comparing Harris to Trump in the polls. Currently, Harris is polling at a 45.5%, and Trump at a 43.5, which puts her ahead by 1.9 points. Now, Matt has said this over and over and over and over again. This is the honeymoon period. This is the time where everyone is just really excited because it's not about Joe Biden. They're not looking at a cranky old man who can't remember his name in the White who's running, right? Now they've got a youthful black woman who a lot of
Sorry.
I know, right? Who
Sorry.
a lot of people feel like bring some level of energy back to the party. Will that dissipate? Yeah. And so that 1.9 that she's ahead right now, this is the sugar rush right now. This is all you're seeing. And in a few months' time, if we stick to just talking about policy rather than personality, Republicans would win. Because if we're talking about both personalities, I happen to like Donald Trump, but I can see where a lot of people don't, and I know a lot of people love Kamala, but I certainly see why I don't like her. So we have to make sure that we're trying to make those lines of delineation.
And here's the last thing, is that if J.D. Vance debates Shapiro, J.D. Vance is going to get mopped. Go ahead, Amy.
What?
You
I was
disagree?
going to ask why. I don't know, because I thought Shapiro was definitely going to be the pick. I've seen so many people coming out of the woodwork to like just trash him and his reputation and show all these scandals already. So I'm like, well, he hasn't been officially named. But if they're already talking about these scandals related to him and now he has ties to all these different people in politics going, I think, is it the Clintons or the Obamas? I'm not even sure, but there's some
It's
kind
Obama.
of like
It's the Clinbomas. They're all the same.
He has like these family members who are like, I don't know what the exact, I didn't read the whole article, so I was like, whatever. But there is some ties there, and I've seen all these articles come out today and heard things about him being like, oh my gosh, he's, basically the devil in sheep's clothing, and he's just going to be worse than Kamala. So
yeah,
I'm assuming he's going to get picked from just that alone. They're trashing him so much. So
yeah. Well, Evelyn makes a good point. She goes, they usually get a bump after the convention. Yeah. Imagine having a bump after the convention and being almost assassinated. And we didn't see that bump. So I don't think the convention is going to bump. I think people are going to watch 20 minutes of it and then tune out and not watch it again. They did the same thing with the GOP. The ratings were not what they once were. The conventions are a thing of the past. You know what you need to do? You need to hold individual state conventions, and you need to schedule them for a year. And every, week, the presidential candidate goes into that convention for that state. That's the way it should be. You want to win. You want to have states actually turn that are red or blue or purple. That's how you do it. You actually show up. Here's Shapiro. This is probably one of the most flawless answers I've seen from a politician in 20 years.
Question. Governor, J.D. Vance just said this about you, and these are his words, quote, he compared you to a really bad impression of Barack Obama. What is your response to that?
Is that what he said? That's great. I love how we get the real-time quotes here. I mean, look, I don't know. Barack Obama was probably our most gifted orator of my time, so it's kind of a weird insult, I guess. But look, I'll say this about J.D. Vance. It is real hard being honest with the American people when you're not being honest with yourself. J.D. Vance is a total phony baloney. He is the most inorganic candidate I think I have ever seen on the national stage. He doesn't know what he believes, and that is why it is impossible for him to articulate a coherent message to the American people, because he doesn't believe it. This guy is not exactly off to a good start, and it is clear that Donald Trump really has buyer's remorse with his pick. So if he wants to sling insults in my direction, which I'm not even sure is an insult, let him do it. That's fine. Bring it on. I'll be ready for whatever the hell J.D. Vance throws my direction. Thanks, everybody.
he's really good.
Yeah, he's pretty
really
good. Whether you agree with the answer or not is immaterial. It doesn't matter. Of course it's bullshit. Who cares? The point is that he literally struck J.D. Vance, and J.D. didn't even know what happened. Like, he not only laid the groundwork, he basically said that his policies weren't effective, that he doesn't believe what he's telling you, that I have no problem. And he also reinforces his commitment to the Democrat Party twice, and starts with Obama and ends with Obama. And that's all that anyone's going to remember is, wow, this guy's an Obama guy. So, you have to understand this is politics, and that looks very appealing when you have the shit show that we have. And listen, Donald Trump didn't do himself any favors this week. He went after Kemp in Georgia. Guys, I don't know if you know this, but Kemp just won re-election in Georgia in 2022. He is very popular with his response in COVID. He was one of the top states during the COVID response. I don't care what you think about him. If you think the election was stolen, that's fine. But we already lost 2 Senate seats in Georgia because of this bullshit. You want to lose Georgia in this election? Because if he loses Georgia, it's over. Why are you going after the one person who is going to rally support for you and talk about his wife and talk about how the election was stolen again, when you literally have a court case that was pushed and just expired, and here you are doing it again? Trump doesn't do himself any favors. He needs to get out of his own way. I want him to go back to convention and the last year Trump versus this new Trump that we've seen, because honestly, this shit ain't gonna work. He did this in 2020. It won't work. Anybody want to respond to this?
No, but I did want to add something just to Shapiro real quick. There is about 4.2 million people that live in the state of Pennsylvania. We can count on about 1.3 million of those being Republicans and about 1.4 million of them being Democrats. Just about, right? That leaves about 1.48 million independents. Now, if you're from the state of Pennsylvania and you just found out that your gov has just been nominated as the VP, that is going to mobilize a lot of those independent voters. That's all I'm going to say.
It's true. But you're putting a Jew on the ticket, and that's dangerous right now because it's going to have impacts in Minnesota, Michigan, and Wisconsin. You got to understand that. The Muslim people do not like the Democratic Party at all. And they're certainly not going to like the Democratic Party when you put a Jew on the ticket. Something we need to think about, especially with everything that's firing off right now. Amy, what do you think? You're in the local. Olivia, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. If I was Jewish and I'm not, I would never even want to associate with the Democratic Party. I'm always confused by this. And I didn't know that the majority of Jewish people were Democrats because all the Jewish people I know are Republicans. So that was a disconnect for me just for a personal level. But I don't know. I wouldn't want to associate with them. And yes, you're going to have all the people in Michigan and, what's the other state? I swear my brain just is not.
Michigan,
shut off
Minnesota,
today.
Wisconsin.
Yes, Minnesota and Wisconsin. Wisconsin, especially, they hate the Jewish people, and they're so pro-Palestinian, and they hate white people. I mean, they hate everybody. If you're not Palestinian or pro-Hamas, like, they hate you. So, maybe they need to put a Hamas supporter up as their vice president pick. I don't know.
Yeah, it's 2028. It's so faux pas right now. We have to wait till it's Trey Chic.
Yeah.
Here's the basic reasons. I was actually writing this. It's interesting that I pulled this up. It's really cool that you said this, Amy. So I'll wait for you to be done talking to Jason so we can communicate.
I'm listening, though.
No, take your time. I wasn't being facetious. Go ahead.
I wanted to add something to what.
Well, no, but we're waiting for. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, Amy, if you're at all interested, there's the national profile of the Jewish electorate in 2020. It's a downloadable PDFs.
Dude, I just told you I wrote something. Why are you sending people to that? I told you I wrote something.
I didn't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to read it. Yeah, so I don't want to send people outside of our network. We've got this built right here. There's no reason to send people away. We can. I know what you're trying to do, and that's great, and thank you. But I've got it all right here for us. So is it cool if I read that real quick, and then you can tell me if I'm missing anything? Let me know. And if we're missing something, we'll send them off that way. Otherwise, we'll keep them in network. Cool?
Yep.
Roger that. Okay, so 77% of Jewish voters supported Joe Biden in 2020, while 21% supported the Republican candidate. Obviously, Donald Trump. A very small amount voted third party, libertarian. It's like 1.6%, and the rest didn't vote at all. It is a highly engaged group and demographic of people. Here's why, some of the notes that I have of why Jews vote for Democrats. Alignment with civil rights and social justice. Even more recently, with civil rights and social justice, minority rights, predominantly are associated with the Democratic Party, at least in what you're hearing from the media. Secularism and social liberalism, Jewish Americans on average tend to be more secular and socially liberal. Immigration and refugee support, being refugees and immigrants from themselves, have a very high propensity to support immigrants, legal and illegal. Social welfare and economic policy, they absolutely believe in assistance from the state. Anti-Semitism and extremism, they believe that the Democratic Party has done a better job, certainly not in recent years, and this is where we're seeing some of the vote waning. And then geopolitical concerns and U.S.-Israel relations, where Jews feel that Republicans want to provide money for Israel from a defense standpoint, and that Democrats want to bridge the social gaps in between the United States and Israel to make the two countries closer and more unilaterally cohesive. That's at least the most. And then the hidden reason that nobody will talk about is because Christians. Christians love Jews. It's not necessarily reciprocated from all facets of Judaism. And when you're labeled as betraying Christ and you don't believe Jesus is real, that's going to create some animosity and dissension from the underlying tones in voting. Leroy, what did I miss?
Not too much. You hit on everything. The only thing that I would add to that is that the biggest states that seem to house the most is California, Florida, and that is
New York.
I was saying New York, right?
New York,
and
12 million.
And New Jersey, yeah. So New Jersey's got a whole. So I mean, that's pretty. I mean, you would say Texas, but they don't allow Jews there. So they just embraced Mexicans. So it's been a struggle. No, it would make sense that it's predominantly the larger states would hold more people, but when a lot of the immigrants came from overseas, Staten Island and it was a huge area where a lot just stayed. But either way, it comes down to this. That's at least the perception of what the Jewish community and the leaders inside and the rabbis and that they communicate. And it's very similar to what black parishioners hear in their churches, that Democrats are the answer and Republicans are this. So I have a feeling that in this election, the Jewish vote is not going to be as one-sided as it's been in the past. I don't know about anyone else, but that's my gut.
Carrie has a good question.
Sure.
She says, is it true there are more Jewish U.S. citizens than the population of Israel?
I looked it up.
Olivia looked it up. Go ahead, Livy.
Because I
know the answer.
I was actually thinking the same exact thing.
Do it.
As of the 2020 census, there are 7.6 million Jewish people and in between 2 to 3 million Muslims. So there's more Jewish people than there are Muslims. But the question is, how many people absolutely hate the Jewish people and would never vote for a Jewish person?
Hold on a second. How many? We didn't give it the population of Israel versus the United States.
Oh, I guess I didn't understand. I thought we were talking about what's the population in the United States, not anything to do with Israel.
No, what's the population of Israel? How many Israel Jews are there? Look it up.
How many Israel Jews?
Yeah, how many Jews are in Israel?
Oh.
And this is going to shock you. Look how many
All
Muslims are. Not true.
I'm kidding.
Not true. There's actually a ton of Christians, Muslims, Greek Orthodox, Israel.
73.2% of the country, about 7.2 million.
And how many non-Jewish in Israel?
So hang on.
It's like
73.2%.
Yeah, it's like 26 point something
2
percent.
million non-Jewish people.
So it's very much reflective of the United States. Isn't that interesting, right? But but if you look at the legislation and the administration inside Israel, you have homosexuals, you have Christians, you have Orthodox, you have Hindu, you have it's an amalgamation. I mean, a lot of people are like, well, Jews don't allow, marriage for, the homosexual community. Yeah, but they're the most accepting Muslim are excuse me, Arab / Muslim / Jewish / Sunni Kurd, area in the Middle East, that they are the most inclusive out of all. I mean, their administration has Muslim people in it. You don't go to Iran. Tell me how many Jews are in the administration of Iran. I'll tell you, there might be somebody mopping a toilet, maybe. And when they find him, they're going to get him. So I wanted you to look it up because it's funny that Israel, such a small country, roughly the size of New Jersey. Do me a favor, look up the population in New Jersey real quick. Watch this. So if you look at how small it is, and then Gaza's like Rhode Island, but
the total population or the Jewish population?
Total population of New Jersey, just the population. Okay, watch this.
9.262 million.
Yeah, so talk about that now. How many are Jewish? And the interesting point is you're talking 2.3 more people roughly in the same size of a country. And you just had a mass exodus of what, 2 million people?
609,000, about 6.6%.
So Israel is more eclectic and diversified than New Jersey. It's an interesting thing when you hear people say, oh, well, Jews hate Christians and Jews hate Muslims. And actually, no, they don't. Now, if you want to go to certain Hasidic Jews and go through the Talmud and look at that book, which if you are going to read the Talmud, you better go ahead and read the Old Testament. And you better go ahead and take those things in the Old Testament that we've run from in the New Testament and hold them true. And a lot of people say, well, the Jews predominantly wrote the Old Testament. That is even more of a signifying mark that you're misjudging a group of people based on something that is in the Bible. They are the chosen ones. They are the chosen people of Christ, betrayed or not. And if you want to go ahead and make the comparison contrast to the people who betrayed Christ with the living descendants of the people here today, then here's my argument. They are called the Jesinas, right? The Jews who betrayed. No, it wasn't the Jesuits, but the name of the people. Yes, Jesuits are there, but they were like called the Jesinas or something. It doesn't matter. The people who betrayed Christ, let's just say Jesinas, right? And I have it wrong. Someone's going to fix it for me. They betrayed Christ, right? Okay, so when you take a look at Israel, everyone is saying that the descendants of Palestinians were from who? Does everyone remember? Where did the Palestinians come from? Does anyone remember the name?
I thought they were, I don't know. I want to go back to history class, honestly. I really do. I think we should do like a series here. Maybe I can help because I'm so interested and fascinated by this, like tying in the religions to the actual historical facts of who owned what, where the wars were. I would love to do a deep dive on all that.
But it's an interesting thing when people will go ahead and say that Palestine has a claim to this. But
some people really believe that.
Well, they believe that because they don't understand the basics of history. Right. And when you're sitting here and saying that the Jews from Judea are not the same Jews as the Jews there today, which is complete bullshit. But if that's the case, then why do you hate them? Because they didn't betray Christ.
Right.
You can't have it both ways. You can't hate Jews because they betrayed Christ and they're the chosen people and the jealousy that you have as Christians, because that's what it is. It's jealousy. So what I don't understand is when you dive deep to people like Nick Fuentes and these guys, they can't answer these basic questions because they don't understand, because they're not coming from a place of trying to justify why they feel this way. They just want to feel this way. So they're only going to listen to the things that make them feel that way. And they don't listen to any other facts. That's just the question I have for you. If one tribe of Jews in the Bible betrayed Christ and they don't have a claim to Israel because they aren't those people, well, then they didn't betray Christ, did they? So you have to choose one. You can't hate Jews because they didn't betray Christ, or you have to go ahead and say that their claim to Israel is legitimate. Which one? And you won't get an answer. You'll get some mumbo jumbo about fucking the USS Liberty, or the fact that they they did 9/11 and tried to kill Donald Trump. That's the latest thing, is the Jews tried to assassinate Donald Trump. Let me tell you something. When the Jews try to kill somebody, they're successful.
Yeah, seriously. They're pretty effective. I will say, are people saying that Jews are not good people because they crucified Christ? I mean, if you literally look at the Bible and you look, I really wish I had more years in my life, because I would love to go and I would love to go to like theology school and just learn everything about every Bible or every book of every religion. But if you truly look at the Old Testament, a lot of things were foreshadowed in the Old Testament if you really break it down and do a really deep dive into these things. And God already knew that Christ was going to be crucified. This wasn't like a surprise to God. Like, this is all already written out. He knows everything. Like, no surprises for him. So yeah, I don't know. I just don't know why people are like, oh, they're this evil people. Well, we already knew this was going to happen. Well, he did. We didn't. So I don't know. I like the Jewish people. I like them a lot better than a lot of other religions. That's for sure too.
The thing, it just comes down to, this is a whole nother conversation, but when you look at ancient Jewish history and Muslim history, although there are claims for certain groups of people who have lines of delineation to Palestinians, Palestine was not a country during those times. During the times of Judea, Palestine was not established. Now, a lot of people will say that there were ancient Palestinian groups simply because the names were the same. That escaped me, and I was trying to come up with it right now. And I went through this. I did videos on this if you guys have seen this shit. But
I remember
they're not the same people. Those people, when you look at Palestinians, they are essentially nomads and gypsies from Turkey and Egypt and all of the vagabonds from other countries. And the original Mesopotamian and Sumerian style, and I can't remember the name of someone help me. And it's very similar. It sounds like Palestinians, but it's not. It's God.
I think I know what you're.
I want to say the Paleontons, but it's not the Paleontons. That's Roman. Help me out here, Bubba. Will you look it up, please?
I'm looking.
So you can. I can't believe I can't remember this. I'm just getting old. But when you look at this, most of the group that they mix up with the Palestinian people, because the names are so similar, were actually from Greece and were from Europe. They're not Palestinian. They're not Muslim.
Levantines?
The Philistines. Thank you. God mighty. What the fuck, Matthew? The Philistines are not Palestinians. In fact, they are not even remotely the same. The Philistines were there in the time of Judea, and they were living accordingly with the Jews. And even when the Jews fled Israel, there were still hundreds of thousands of Jews there from 1940 in 1940 when they fled and came back and took the country over. But after Roman conquering and calling it Palestine, there were still Jews living in Israel. They never completely left the land. But Judea and Judaists have a relationship with that land long before Palestinians. And now you can talk about the Philistines, but the Philistines and the Palestinians only have similar names and consonants. They have no relation to the Palestinian people. Now, there may be some Philistine blood there, but that's like saying that I can be king because I'm a direct descendant of Charlemagne, for God's sakes. I mean, how much nonsense do we want to have here? Yes, the Canaanites. Yes, you can go back to the Canaanites too. So my point is, people need to just shut up and just say you hate Jews. There's no reason for you to hate Jews, but you believe that there is. So just be honest. And then we can come from a place of learning. And I can ask you the question, what do you hate about them? Oh, I don't know. I don't even know any. But if I did, okay, well, then you're like most people. You're an ignorant fucko. All right, anyway.
I mean, don't most countries hate them because of taxes, right? Like they literally, isn't that true? Like, well,
United States. Yes. Listen, Jews, there's a lot of jealousy. Jews controlled the money in Germany. They ran the government in Germany. They are lawyers. They are accountants. They're an easy person to scapegoat. And when you have a Bible that ultimately says they're the betrayers of Christ, that's going to kind of carry on. It's a stink you don't wash off yourself. You know what I mean? It's just a stink you don't wash off yourself. That's my point. Okay.
I just don't think most people who are followers of Christ dislike the Jewish people.
No,
I mean, well, we shouldn't dislike anybody, but I'm just saying.
Well, fake guys like Nick Fuentes and Stu Peters and these guys, they most assuredly called themselves Christians, and they fucking hate Jews.
I know a lot of Catholics who are like, don't speak very highly of the Jewish people. Not like on a singular level, but as a population. And I was surprised. I've been asking a lot of questions because because when your major hierarchy for ideology is the Vatican, you've got room to talk. You know what I mean? Right.
I mean, maybe you should just slaughter some Christians or some little boys or something. You know, give me a fucking break.
That's why I want to do this deep dive, because I've been doing some research on both the Catholic religion and like back to the Canaanites, because they were so messed up, but we love them in Catholicism. But they're horrible people, and there's a lot of different layers, I think, and they were also part of the Jewish religion. So I just wish I had more hours in my life to
I literally dove into it and just started reading a lot and just trying to understand the historical nuance, because that's the stuff you can actually, sure, you can use literary works, but each one has their own definition based upon who wrote it. But when you start looking at the bones of people and their dollars and their pottery and those type of things and the civilization left behind, it's fairly easy to see that Judea and the Jews have been there. And there's no doubt the Philistines were there side by side. We understand the Canaanites. We understand the Sumerians. We understand Mesopotamia. We understand that Persians were actually in the area too. But what people don't understand is that Palestine is not a country, and wasn't a country until 1826 some odd, when the Romans named it Palestine. And then the Jews went back and reclaimed their land. But the Jews never completely fled. It's kind of like the Great Switch. You hear how Democrats and Republicans switch parties. This whole thing that Israel, the Jews just got up and disappeared one day. That's not true. Hundreds of thousands remained, and most of them were used as menial labor and even slaves. But that it was still their land. And here's the thing. For all Democrats who talk shit, I don't ever want to fucking hear about Native Americans again, how we stole their land. Because are you telling me you're not okay with Jews coming back and reclaiming their land, but you're saying that Native Americans should rise up and take over Whitey? You can't have it both ways. You can't sit here and say that the Jews have no claim to their land, but Native Americans do. Either they were conquered or not conquered. And if you believe that Native Americans were conquered, well, then you're fine with Jews taking over what was known as Palestine, because it was conquered. And it's being conquered even more. And there is no Palestine. There's West Bank and Gaza. Okay.
We've talked about that before. Every time you see this drift to the left, right, there is some level of hypocrisy that has to occur within the left in order to somehow justify just their way of thinking.
Yes.
Because when you remove that hypocrisy, right, when you start thinking more critically, ultimately you end up to the right of the on the spectrum.
Let me ask you a question, and this to everybody on the panel. I know Olivia's answer, but I'm going to ask her anyway. Can you admit you're wrong?
Yes.
Depends. Majority
It
of
does
the
not
time, no.
depend. It does not depend. No, seriously. Can
no
you
need.
admit?
I'm never wrong.
Exactly.
Right. You know what the women are going to say.
I'm wrong all the time. I admit it for sure.
I know I do. And I don't have a problem saying it. When I make a mistake, I try to correct it, or people bring it to my attention. And there's nothing wrong with it. And I think conservatives ultimately would like to be proven wrong. Like, we would love for you to make a coherent argument on gun control and help us understand how that really can stop.
Sure.
We want to hear it. Like, anything we can do to help. But what we do know is that arming a person with a gun is going to help versus a person who has a gun and want to harm you. And you have to help us understand by statistics how that is incorrect. Okay, well, what most happens when someone has a gun is that person takes it away and uses it against them. Okay, so now we need training. Okay, what's your next argument? No training. Wait a second. I'm simply offering the solution to the problem you've presented. No guns. And that's where you stop with liberals, is they don't want to hear it. It does very much remind me the one thing that we are very much stubborn about, and that is about religion. Like, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear anyone challenge religion. We don't want to have anyone insult our religion or even just condemn it or question it. And to me, that's what liberals are about everything. Thoughts?
To your point, right? If there was a cohesive argument that surrounded those topics, I'd be more than willing to listen. I am willing to listen. I want someone to come back to me and somehow justify abortion or or the economy or the tax scale, because ultimately at the end of the day, you always hear that the economy only works for the rich, or they'll throw out all of these taglines. They'll throw out all of the buzzwords or the inflammatory type statements. But they tend to lack any sort of real critical thinking. And ultimately, I am willing to change my mind. I think that the Democrat Party itself kind of has this childlike view, meaning a good thing, meaning, hey, this is what we think the world could be. It could be all sunshine and rainbows, right? And we can make that happen. I'm on board with that. I would love for that to happen. And if I could be proven wrong in order for that to happen, make me wrong all day. Right? The problem is then when reality kicks in and we start talking about gun control, we start talking about the economy, we start trying to justify the reasons for or not for abortion, it just, every one of their arguments falls apart. And I can never find anybody who's willing to have a legitimate conversation about those things. They just get all emotional and just call you all sorts of, they'll go down the flow chart of racist terms. You're a racist, misogynistic, bigoted, homophobe, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, that's not an argument. It's not a fucking argument.
Here we go. Because that's our next video. And I want to tell you, I watched this and I can't begin to tell you it is, this will take us to the end of the show. Kyung, it didn't say a well-trained militia, a well-regulated militia. And it's separating the militia from the citizenry. What it's saying is a well-regulated militia. Go ahead and read it off to him so he understands. Go ahead.
A well-regulated
just do one line at a time.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state.
Okay,
sure. So you need a working military to work, right?
Okay, hold on a second. Time out. One at a time, man. One at a time. Hold on. Break it down. You're skipping it. Go to the first part again and listen and break the whole thing down, because it's not saying a well-regulated militia is an armed citizenry. That's not what it's saying. Say it again.
No.
Read it again.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state.
Okay, stop. The reason that was written is without the militia from the United States, we would all have an English accent and be drinking tea and have bad teeth. The founding fathers are encapsulating of why a militia was important to the free state. That is an independent statement on its own. And instead of a comma, needs a period. But in that, run-on sentences in Old English and grammar were absolutely something that took place. All right, I'm sorry. I wanted to make sure that was really clear, because people misinterpret that often. Go ahead.
Then the second half of that is the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The right of the people.
And the people is not militia, right? A militia and people are two different things. Although a militia is made up of the citizenry, not everyone who was there was part of the militia. That's not the way it works. A militia was a volunteered basis standing army that the U.S. did not necessarily possess, that could face the British Army. Okay, from a financial standpoint, from having the right weaponry, to having the right discipline, to having the right training, all of it. The people being armed is what happened. Because here's the thing. The U.S. did not have firearms for all the militia. The militia brought their own. They brought their own muskets. They brought their own powder. They brought their own balls.
Right.
So what they're saying is that the people must be armed. So when we create a militia, or finish the rest.
The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, I want to point something out too, that when the Supreme Court analyzed this statement, what they found, right, was that the first part of that, and I really can't see what I'm pointing at, but the first portion of that, right up into the free state, right, that is called the prefatory clause, and that's the important reason. That's the portion of it that gives reason for the second part of this, which is called the operative clause. So you have to make those distinctions, because if you don't understand that, the reason for the second thing is the first thing, that all plays part of it.
Another thing, Kyung, you're using the word well-regulated incorrectly. Regulated based upon what the word mean in that time was more about regulation, not the action of being regulated, which was in well-working order, to be taken care of. You're misquoting the word. Well-trained and well-organized was not what the Founding Fathers meant. That is what the left says, Kyung. What they're saying is that it has to be in working order. There has to be a level of discipline around that commitment to ensure that well-regulated means
put in good order.
Put in good order by the people. But through that recruiting of a militia, the people must be armed. Otherwise, the militia will not work. Now, in better terms, what they would say is today that in order to have a free state. Now here's the best argument that I'll give you, and nobody else does this. I've done this a million times, and then we got to move on. The first 9 Bill of Rights are about whom?
Individual.
The people, right? And what the government cannot do. Then explain to me why the 10th and most important is the reserve powers to the states, which ensures that all rights belong to the people. And when in doubt, the federal government is not the go-to. It's actually the people in the states. Fair enough? So it's saying to not be under rule of the federal government in any way, shape, or form. And if so, we fall back to the 10th Amendment, where those powers, these enumerated powers, are reserved for the states. Why would the United States government then hamstring the Second Amendment, which the two most important amendments are the first, and the second protects the first, by allowing the government to have the only weaponry and arms in the entire country, where the federal government, the thing that they're trying to stop, is tyrannical rule, and give that power to the government and not the people? End of fucking story. I don't ever want to hear a Second Amendment argument again. You have been found wanting, you have been weighed, and you have been measured.
I want to add something to that real quick, because it's
how can you? It was perfect.
It was perfect. I do want to add something though.
All right,
you had said, and you said it beautifully, right? The first 10 rights that are listed are known as the Bill of Rights, and they are all addressed not to groups within the United States, to the individual. I have heard multiple times, multiple people making the argument that it's because it's about the militia, this kind of thing. It doesn't make sense when you consider that within the context of the first 10, every one of those was written to address the individual. How would the Second Amendment be any different? That would be like saying, well, they're all intended to be towards the individual. They're all pointed towards the individual, except the second one. It makes no sense.
Kyung,
True.
you need to watch my show more, because I'm gonna show you right now. Go ahead. What? I didn't hear.
I was just saying that I was just agreeing with Leroy, and just to build off of what Kyung was saying, because language is so intricate, especially like in the last 50, 60 years. I feel like it's evolved so much here in the United States. It's really important to go back to when things were written and then look at the definitions of the words at that time.
Yep. Because you're wrong.
Me or Kwong?
Kyung.
Sorry, I think that's what it is.
Kyung is wrong. And I'm going to show it to him right now. These are the meanings of the phrase 1709. If a liberal education has formed us in well-regulated appetites and worthy of inclinations, the practice of a well-regulated courts of justice in the world. The equation of time is the adjustment of the difference between as shown by well-regulated clock and true sundial. Well-regulated means operating. Reminiscent for which I surely every well-regulated person will blame the mayor. It appeared to her well-regulated mind like a clandestine proceeding. The newspaper a never-wanting adjunct to every well-regulated American embryo city. The phrase well-regulated was in common use long before 1789 and remained so far a century thereafter. It referred to the property of something being in proper working order. Something that was well regulated was calibrated correctly, functioning as expected. Establishing government oversight of the people's arms was not the intent in using the phrase in the Second Amendment. It was precisely to render the government powerless to do so that the founders wrote it. I will accept your apology in a donation of a large sort.
There you go. And Kyung, if you want to learn more about that, there was a really, really well done book written in 1997 by a guy named Jack Rakovi, who won a Pulitzer Prize for it. And the name of the book, again, was called Original Meanings. And it describes exactly what Matt just talked about, how the original words have somehow changed meaning over time. And this book addresses all of that.
Yep. The language of the Founding Fathers was eclectic at best. And words change, but well-regulated, being a hyphenated word, is just being of sound body and mind or in proper working order. That's all it means. That's all it means. It does not mean regulate as in adding regulations and rules and laws to it, because it says, why would it contradict itself and say that it needs to be properly working order, or it needs to be, properly trained, or you can't have it when it simply says shall not be infringed. It is an unequivocal fact that the Founding Fathers wanted access for everyone to have firearms, because the necessity to have a firearm back in that day was a necessity for everyone's individual rights. From Native Americans attacking, from buffalo, from fucking wolves, to herds getting attacked, or a rival tyrannical nation as in England. The Founding Fathers knew that this was not going to be our last war, and in order to maintain the free state at people wanting to come and usurp power from the people, they needed a right to defend themselves, not to be regulated. That is it. I've been arguing, dude, Kyung, you know the rules. You want to argue any more about this? Come on the show. But this is my forte. The Second Amendment is fucking something I know a lot about. Leroy does too. And I will argue with you about this all day long, but not right now because we have to watch this video and I want the ladies to have something to say about this. All right, here it is. The most deranged shit I've ever seen from a somewhat pretty lady who is absolutely nuts.
For those of you who are interested,
enjoy.
Donald Trump, you are an absolute disgrace to America. For those of you who are interested in what I would say to our former president, you might want to speed it up. Hold right here. Mr. Trump, I saw your rally in Georgia today where you said not.
Kyung, I've never heard a history professor of the Second Amendment who is pro-Second Amendment say that well-regulated means that the government has to regulate those to ensure that you're proper and trained before you use it. Ever. I have never heard that argument. So you know what? You can't just say watch history because, brother, I don't watch history. I read history. And go ahead and read the articles. Read the Articles of Confederation. Read the Constitution of the United States, but also read the Declaration of Independence. Because what you're saying to me is they didn't get done deer hunting, bro. They weren't fighting deer. They were fighting a tyrannical government. And the only reason we won was because the people had weapons. And they established in the Bill of Rights, Constitution, and Declaration, in order to have a free society, a free state, The rights endowed by the Creator and the natural rights of the people, it was inherent to protect those rights with the right to bear arms. Full stop. Once again, your argument has already been dismantled. Why would 9 of the Bill of Rights be all about protecting individual rights, and then the most important one, which gives them the assurance of protection, all of a sudden be regulated by the very government that they are trying to stop from oppressing them? Your conversation's over. You're done. There is no, until you address that point, you're distracting from the show now. And you're my good friend, and I admire you and love you, and you are very, very smart, but you were horribly wrong.
Yeah. Real quick, and then we can put this one to bed. They actually do address that in the Federalist Papers.
Yes.
And they're out there. It's pages and pages of every reason from the founding fathers that tell you the reasons why you need to own a gun. Moving on.
And you are saying that you want government regulation, because who is to ensure that the people are properly trained, properly checked out? Who is to regulate? That's regulation, is what you're saying. Well, who is going to regulate that but the government? Do you understand what I'm saying? Training of a rifle is not a requirement to own a weapon. Training in a handgun is not a requirement to own. You have the right to own, and you will seek the proper training, the proper care, or you won't. But none of those are a prerequisite to ownership. In fact, there's nothing from a background check to any conversation, unless it's concealed, that says you have to pass a physical test to take that weapon. You have written tests in California and other places, but that is unconstitutional. Those are unconstitutional provisions. Okay, well, you are saying it, Kyung. That's all you have been saying. Is you're saying that well-regulated, you're using regulation as a law or a checkbox that needs to be achieved before you can have possession of a firearm. That's what you're saying. You're saying regulated. Proper training and efficiency is needed in order to own a weapon. That is not the case, because that's not what well-regulated means. Well-regulated means in proper working order. That's all it means. You are responsible for having it. It's almost like you have to. It's not even a right. It's a demand from the government. You must carry and you must have arms. That's what they're trying to say. And they must be in working order, because this is absolutely crucial to the freedom of this country, you owning a firearm. So you better take care of it, make sure it's in working order and ready to go. It better not be a matchstick. Do you understand? That's what the Second Amendment is saying. Nothing else. All right, we're done. Let's listen to this psycho crazy lady. Kyung, I love you, buddy. Call me sometime. Call me maybe.
Donald Trump, you are an absolute disgrace to America. For those of you who are interested in what I would say to our former president, you might want to speed it up. Hold right here. Mr. Trump.
What the fuck was that? Was that a
I
pagan?
know, like her finger was like all the way back. I'm like,
It's like a pagan symbol. It's like Illuminati. It's like the fucking devil's horns. All right.
Oh,
you're right.
Kyung, I'm not mad at you. You know me well enough. I'm passionate about this. I'm not disagreeing with you. I understand what you're saying. It's a conversation that we could have later where I agree people should be well trained on their firearms, but it's not a requirement. That's it.
Rally in Georgia today where you said not one word about the good work of the current administration or diplomats in bringing home Americans, in bringing home a Marine. Instead, you congratulated the dictator who was holding them hostage.
Add some context. I happen to agree that isn't something that should be political. I think it's great that we got hostages back. I don't think it's okay that we keep giving mass murderers and assassins away. But he didn't congratulate. He was tongue in cheek. He's like, well, congratulations to Putin, I guess, because he got A, B, C, and D. He also precluded that statement with, in no way, shape, or form would I give these type of assets away to Putin or anyone else. We'll listen to the rest.
A tyrant who trumped up espionage charges on American citizens. I don't know why I'm surprised, given that you invited Russia to target your opponent when you were running in 2016.
Oh, come on.
Given that you never believed any of the 11 intelligence agencies that said that Russia interfered in the 2016
Are this similar to the 41 that lied about Hunter Biden's laptop? I'm just wondering.
Right.
election.
Right.
Given the fact that at every opportunity to defend Americans, you stood with Russia instead. And when Russia helped Iran put bounties onto the heads of American service members, you said nothing.
It's such a bullshit charge. We didn't give pallets full of cash in the dead of night either. We didn't lift sanctions against Iran either. He put sanctions on Russia. He put embargoes on Russia. Nord Stream 2. He probably, give me a break. He fucking forced Merkel in Europe not to buy natural gas from Putin. For anyone to sit here and say that he backed Russia, I'm sorry. We'll let it finish.
The fact
She's going to go full Karen here.
that when Russia coordinated with the Taliban to target American service members, you were too much of a coward to stand up for Americans.
Russia hates the Taliban, by the way. They hate all terrorist groups and Muslims. They fucking decapitate them the moment they come in contact with them, by the way.
You are an absolute pathetic man. Every time a patriot, an actual patriot, has stood up to you, you go on personal attacks.
Is it kind of like what she's doing?
Members of the military, national security experts, terrorism experts, members of the intelligence community, you find them useless. In fact, you stood in front of the...
Leroy and I are both intelligence officials, and we find them useless sometimes.
I was going to say something about that.
Yeah, go ahead. Quick.
The way she's citing this stuff, and it's so Karenish too. She's like, if you would have just listened to those 11 intelligence agencies, let me tell you something. This is from the heart, okay? If you don't work in the IC, don't make assumptions about what these intelligence agencies have divulged to our political parties, okay?
Correct.
To our leaders, because you don't know. He may have been briefed 100 times. And as a matter of fact, I would put my entire life savings on the fact that he heard from every one of those agencies numerous times every day during the morning update brief. Oh, and another thing, if you're going to talk on behalf of U.S. service members, you should probably have at least talked to a few of them.
Or been one.
You should probably have gained some opinion from them, right? Before you go off on your rant, putting words in people's mouths, try and sit down and have an actual conversation, and rather than just go all Karenish and start pointing your odd fucking finger at people, right? God damn it.
Listen here, evil Scarlett Johansson.
Wall at Langley and bragged about yourself. Those stars are people. People who gave their lives for this nation.
No, they're Knox. They're not people.
And you used the backdrop.
The prescription of her glasses is like affecting me so much because her head looks
the frames.
squished. Yeah. Well, it's like the refraction of like how strong it is. It's like
I know, but they look like it looks like she got a piece of fucking like rose quartz and chiseled them out. Yeah. Because you should see it. They're all okay. Well, let's finish this thing.
Yeah.
To brag about how wealthy you were. It's no wonder that you only got your Truth Social off the ground by coordinating with relatives of Russian oligarchs on the sanctions list. It's no wonder that you only wanted to talk to Vladimir Putin in Helsinki if there were no witnesses. It's no wonder you repeatedly...
Except for the fucking interpreters that were in the room. I mean, and stenographers. I mean, go ahead, Amy. Did you want to say... Or no?
I was just going to... I mean, yes, I believe that's true. But didn't Donald Trump also threaten Putin in that meeting? Wasn't that documented? Not like openly threatened, but like covertly like, hey, You stay in your lane. Otherwise, I'm going to mess up your life. And
I think there was a lot of that fuck around and find out kind of talk with Trump. But what this chick is doing is portraying it like somehow they got behind locked doors, stripped down, and played naked Twister with baby oil.
Right. Nefarious reasons. Like they made some sort of secret dick handshake about.
Would not be okay with that because he's very conservative.
He does ride horses without shirts. I'm just letting you know he rides horses without shirts. He might be a little gay. I think he's a little recessed. Now, if I wake up dead tomorrow, I was not suicidal. I was not suicidal.
At every opportunity, have spit in the faces of Americans to defend Russia.
What? When?
And we all know exactly.
See, now she's just, she was holding it together. She was okay in the first 35 seconds. I was like, I kind of agree with her. I thought it was pretty chicken shit for Trump to do this. And then I'm like, okay, lady, you're fucking crazy. You're like all of them. You collect knives. Sorry.
Why now, given that the intelligence community is once again saying that Russia is trying to interfere in our election. We all know why you're praising Putin. Because you're afraid he won't back you again. What? But more than that, when you run away from America because you are running from the consequences of your cowardice and your treason.
He showed up to every court date.
You want somewhere to go.
What?
And you are desperate to have Putin welcome you.
What about Hong Kong? What about Australia? What about Cambodia? There's about fucking 77 different countries he can go to with no extradition treaty. Russia isn't going to be the one he goes to. Trust me.
Open arms. Benedict Arnold is the most famous traitor in American history.
No, he's not. No, he's fucking not. Leroy, how many fucking spies can you mention right now to shut this bitch up? I mean, are you fucking kidding me? Oh, you're Benedict Arnold? Really? Oh God.
You know what she reminds me of, honestly?
I don't know.
It's like an angry Sarah Silverman kind of. You get that vibe, right? Like she's just going. She's creative, you can tell, but she's also unhinged.
She needs to get
Sarah
laid.
Silverman is a little angry.
Yeah, and she doesn't shave. That's gross.
Oh, that is gross.
Well, hold on a second. Okay, we're not going to get into this. Let's watch the rest.
To his king. You don't have that excuse. You don't have the honor either. You have outdone him, Mr. Trump. With your being...
I can't stand it. Biggest fucking traitors in U.S. history were the founding fathers, you stupid fucking bitch. I mean, I'm sorry. I can't fucking take it anymore. I can't. How fucking dumb do you have to be? Edward Snowden released every single government official was spying on U.S. citizens, made them the biggest traitors, as he is considered to be one of the biggest traitors. Tokyo Rose, Deep Throat, McNamara with the Vietnam War, Lyndon Baines Johnson could be considered one of the biggest traitors. Jefferson fucking Davis is considered a traitor. Aaron Burr, traitor. Robert Hansen, one of the biggest spies ever in U.S. history, is a traitor. Yeah, Benedict fucking Arnold. Okay. Benedict Arnold. Sorry, I said that she was a bitch. I'm sorry.
Russian asset.
You were right.
For
you don't
decades.
need to be apologetic.
I'm not going to shut her up. We need to listen to this.
You are a spy.
A spy?
You are a grapist. You are
a grapist? What the fuck is a grapist? Is that a wine connoisseur?
It's a video from, I think, Mad TV. They did like a whole thing on it. You never saw it. It's hilarious.
Is she mixing groping and rape at the same time?
The Grapist is actually a skit. I think it was done by Mad TV. So I just remembered that. I think that's what she's saying. But it actually is funny if you put it in that context. It's a bit, if you look it up, it's hilarious.
Liv, what's a grapist?
A connoisseur of grapes. I guess.
That's what I thought. Grape juice.
It's
so
a
black
drink.
people.
No, it's all white people in the ad. You got to watch it. Pull it up. Not on air.
I was being See, Leroy got it. I was being a racist. All right, here we go.
Predator of children. You assault women. You are a bigot, a xenophobe.
Oh, here's the list.
A racist.
Punch list.
A fake Christian.
Fake Christian? You mean Catholic? Sorry. Oh, Amy, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I love you. It came out. I just said it. I didn't even think about it. I'm so sorry. I was kidding. I'm so sorry.
Like, knives out, motherfucker.
I am upset that you're saying you're sorry and taking it back right now than you actually just saying the comment, because it's funny.
Look
Guns
at
out
Amy's
for
face.
her.
It was like,
I was like, burn.
She-
No, I don't care.
Guns out for Harambe. Dicks out for Harambe. All right.
You are a traitor to America and to American ideals. It's why you are so willing to, as you put it, terminate all rules and regulations to include the Constitution.
No, that's not what he said.
And
what he said was, if you go ahead and continue to do these things, why do we even have a constitution anymore? If you continue to do these practices, then you might as well just go ahead and throw the Constitution out. What people don't understand is that Democrats have no sense of fucking humor. And they don't understand what an analogy is. They have no idea what comparison contrast means. If you say something, as long as it's not on their side, whatever you say, context isn't important. Democrats, this is fact checkers. Needing context should be tattooed on every liberal's head. Every liberal's head.
Are you willing to do that? Because you lost. And you could not cheat and steal.
She's so hot. I wish she wasn't so fucking stupid.
Way to power. That's why you're so desperate now. You don't.
You know she likes butt sex. You can just tell. She's just pent up. You know, any Tom, Dick, or Harry. She needs a good. Just
anyone to know just how
maybe,
far.
Maybe not a Tom, Dick, and Harry. Maybe like a Lisa, a Jenny, and a Julie or something.
Ooh, Jenny
like
and
that.
a Julie, Lisa, Jenny, and an LJJ. Kind of like an okay.
Oh, that's something I would rent.
Yeah, I'm like, just get that on video. That's all we care about. And wear those glasses for sure. Those are eye protectors in the bedroom for sure. Nothing's getting through those suckers. I don't care how good of a shot he is.
Sell this nation to the highest bidder.
You're better.
As if we didn't know about the payments from Egypt or Saudi Arabia or China.
Talking about the Clinton Foundation.
Yeah, 70 million.
You are loyal to anyone who will put money in your pocket.
about selective outrage.
And you will sacrifice American patriots if it makes you wealthy.
He's already
You are
fucking billionaire. He doesn't need to do anything for more money. What
I'm
the
already
heck?
over as far as I can go. I can't go over anymore.
I mean, he didn't even collect a check, right?
How dare?
No, I haven't been talking to Izzo. Izzo doesn't talk to me anymore. He's moved on. Her name is the one Christine, Christin. She even spells her name fucking stupid.
But you better get
You
on
once
some hair
said
treatment medication.
that General Milley deserved a very specific fate because he stopped China from thinking we were going to initiate a war.
No, that's not what he did. He used back channel communique with a communist country and a fucking enemy of the United States to broker a backdoor deal without the behest of the president of the United States. That's called treason. That, you know, that little word you guys keep throwing around, that is treasonous. Give me a
Matt,
break.
you need to duet this girl.
Like I've been dreaming.
That's what I was thinking.
Don't you know the cool jive talk now? Like, it's called duetting. It's on TikTok. I don't know how it works.
I have
but
no fucking idea what you're talking about.
What
Louis
you do
Lewis
is
and
you
Gwyneth Paltrow, right?
No, you take the
Lewis
video
and
that
Gwyneth.
she's saying, and then like you'll cut it. So like it's her videos playing, and then you're also on the screen. I think, and then like you would like you cut it off where she's wrong, and then you would just say the correct statement, and then let her go on. And then
So we want something that's what, 4.5 hours? Because I mean, I'm trying to restrain myself. Like she would say the, and I'll be like, that's it. I've had enough.
Yeah,
I've got some. Okay, duetting. Got it.
got it.
And you were angry that he was able to calm them down. So you threatened his life. The chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, you threatened him with public execution.
No, he didn't. He didn't do anything such
And
thing.
that is exactly why we all know now that you will defect.
What?
Because you accuse others. You project everything you're thinking onto others. And you are terrified that when you have to stand in front of the 330 million people in the United States of America.
This is the worst penis shaming video I've ever seen.
I'm looking at Olivia's face, and it is of genuine confusion.
Can you talk about how small my dick is or something and get me off here, because I'm bored as shit. This video sucks. I paid for this through Cameo, and can you insult me more? Can you go ahead and say I have a small peen or something? This is horrible.
Right.
What the fuck is this? This seems like a bad acting video. This is the acting you see in porno. Like, I just want to hear the music. Bang, chicka, baka, baka, bow, wow. All of a sudden, she answers the door, and it's a pizza guy. He's like, "Hey, baby, I've got your long 12-inch sausage here." And she's like, "Ooh, something, anything."
She looks like she was just harassed from the gym, right? Like, are you looking at me? Are you looking at? You know, she looks just like that kind of person.
I don't know, guys.
She needs to put a shirt on. No one wants to see her in her sports bra. She's not at the
not
gym
ugly.
anymore.
I do.
She's kind of hot. I mean, she's like angry hot. Like, I would just be like, talk more about Donald Trump to me, please. Just say it slower and quieter.
Just be more angry.
Just touch it. Just touch it. Touch it.
Yeah.
Touch
and
it.
Wiggle more.
Touch it. Touch it. Can I see your boobies? Yeah, boobies. Yeah. Show me your cooter. Yeah.
That you will be the one to face a traitor's fate. I wish you a long and happy life, Mr. Trump. Behind bars with nothing.
I will. Sounded
May
good.
you suffer in your prison cell until your last breath, and then
I can't even get it
may
out.
you be judged by the Creator.
That you don't believe in. Have you? And now I got to go because I got to go murder my baby.
Joy and eternal fate you well deserve.
And stop by for my next video, which is just as uplifting. And I
I know. I'm watching that going, well, I'm aroused.
If you want to go ahead and date me, go to singlebitches.com. I'll be there all week. Thanks, everyone. Love yas. All right, Livy, come on. Livy's first, then Amy. Oh, my God.
I think my favorite part is the way she talks. Mr. President.
Yeah.
You are a traitor.
She's like Marilyn Monroe without the singing.
Gonna move the glasses a few times.
Happy birthday.
Go this. If you want to forward this, go this.
Traitorous,
Freaking
xenophobic,
nuts.
homophobic, orange man. Happy birthday. Amy, what do you think?
Something tells me that she doesn't even know what half those words meant that she said in that whole diatribe, and she just looked them up right before to make her sound smart. I don't think she's that smart.
Yeah, I think she watched CNN. That's what I think she did. I think she watched CNN for 5 minutes and was like, I am a robot. I am ready to go. Fuck you, homophobic, xenophobic, transphobic, douche plow.
The only thing that would have made that video better is at the very end, she said, I have spoken. And that would have just ended.
Oh, no,
that would have been so much better.
What? Amy, give us the line.
What could be unburdened? Wait, I think by what has been.
So good. A Venn diagram would have made that a lot better. I think someone should work with her. Amy, your thoughts on
We should
Psycho?
have a shirt about that. The Venn diagram.
Oh, I'm gonna do something. Yeah.
My thoughts are, as the leader of the Karens for Kamala group here on this panel tonight, guys, I think that we need to be gentle parenting a little bit more. You guys are, God forbid, trying to correct someone what they're saying, and you need to turn on your listening ears and really feel with how they feel. And then, yes, we could unburden by what has been. So that was like Kamala and I just I don't know.
That was the perfect impersonation of that
so
chick.
good.
You know what? What's even better than that? That was pretty damn good because this is better. Here you go. And then we're leaving.
Have gone up. And
what else are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation?
all right, thank you. Well, let's start with this.
Okay. What is inflation?
Prices have gone up. And families and individuals are dealing with the realities of
What has been?
that bread costs
Struggling
more,
for
that
work.
gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up.
Right.
That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's
And
about a
1,
source of
2,
stress
3,
for families
4.
that
1,
is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to
Financial.
carry. So it is something that we take very seriously, very seriously.
That didn't answer the
And we know from
question.
the
What are you
history of
going
this
to
issue in
do?
the United States that when you see these prices go up, it has a direct impact on the quality of life for all people in our country. So
So
it's a
fix
big
it.
issue, and we take it seriously. And it is a priority, therefore.
Therefore, she takes it seriously, Liv. She's obviously answering the
Obviously.
question. I don't
She
know why you
literally-
missed the answer.
Obviously.
Wait. There's more to the video. Shh.
Oh, I love Kamala.
The sound has gone missing. Fuck it. I don't know what else to say. Our 1 minutes around the horn. Leroy, you've been contributing at a very high level tonight, and no, in a good way. And I'm gonna give it to you. Go ahead.
I have been trolling several sites for the last several days, and a guy has gotten under my skin named Devin Mick. Devin, if you're watching, he is a self-proclaimed communist, and has basically said he wants communism here in America, and he wants to bring down all of capitalism. Devin, you are a miserable piece of shit human. And the one thing that I've made perfectly clear before is that communism is antithetical to the Bill of Rights. And because that is still the playbook for which the United States operates, you have a long road to hoe, my friend. Beyond that, I thought it was a great show. Amy, your impersonation is so good.
It's amazing. It's because I am truly a leftist, and I just pretend I'm not.
Yeah.
I may have peed myself just a little bit.
Same
there.
as a Christian. Same as a Christian. Right.
Yeah.
Olivia,
It's easy.
Olivia,
once
when you
you
were
fake being a
watching-
Christian, how hard is it?
Olivia, when you were watching that video, I was looking at the confused look on your face, like you were like, and I was just dying laughing. So that was great. And Matt, you're always just fun. So
Thanks, buddy. Bringing down communism, you guys can't even propel up communism. So in order to go ahead and compete with capitalism, you would actually have to stabilize communism as a successful entity on its own. You'll never destroy capitalism because you guys can't even get out of the fucking starting blocks.
Right.
Because you start with socialism. There's never been a prosperous communist country in the United States that's over like fucking 50,000 people. And literally where people would shit themselves and drop on a knee when you have a Bic lighter and strike it. Okay? So bring this douche plow on. I love communists. Even Russia abandoned communism. Give me a fucking break. Russia. The only country that's as thick as a brick, who literally will just throw bodies at a problem. That's all Russia's ever done. Because logistically, they can't pull their fucking heads out of their ass to figure out supply line and refueling or how to feed their horses or their men. So what do? They just fucking kill them.
Yeah.
Russia figured out that communism was a shit fucking... That's the problem, dude. Can you please name one country in communism that actually elevated over 50% of the population? Please tell me one form of government that's ever done that.
North Korea.
Name one.
TikTok, motherfucker.
Yeah. Name one. And you know what? It doesn't start with K and communism. I promise you that. It starts with capitalism. So go play how you go.
communism, real, true communism, has never been tried.
There's a reason for that. There's a fucking reason for that. Because it would be an abysmal failure for the people who are trying to assert power. You know who tried pure communism? The Native Americans.
Right.
They were one of the least prosperous and least innovative fucking societies in human existence. Their technology advanced a cunt hair over the hundreds of years that they were on this North American soil. Why? Because all they did was fucking barter and trade. And then when they didn't have enough, they killed each other for it. Communism doesn't work. Societal sharing and tribal sharing doesn't work. It may work for the fucking Partridge Family and the Brady Bunch, but when you have countries with 326 million people and then another country with 2.7 billion, it doesn't work, dude. That is because you have to admit, and it just happens to be that half of your fucking people in your country are either going to be too stupid, too lazy, or too inept to do the fucking work that would make communism prosper. That's why capitalism, we understand that 50% of the country carries the other 50%, which is the young, the inept, and the old. And we're okay with it. But what we're not okay with is a bunch of fucking red commies coming over here and telling us it was the best of times, worst of times. Well, I have 100 million reasons to tell you to go fuck yourself. And those are human lives that have fucking been ended because of communism. Yo, you guys killed Japanese. Yeah, but they're not really people. Next.
Oh. Good show, Matt.
Yeah.
Is that it? Liv, did you have a minute?
I have
Thank
something
you.
to say.
Amy, go ahead.
I'm going to say just two quick things. If you guys like my comedy and you live here in Virginia and you want me to sell your house, Jason and I love doing funny videos. I think our best one's the Barbie and Ken video. You can find it on our social media, I'm sure.
I remember that.
That's like my favorite one because Jason's such a terrible actor and I'm like, you're embarrassing. But that's not my point. But if you want me to sell your house in a funny way, everyone wants a serious, nice presentation of their house. I like to be funny.
No.
It's always fun. But my second thing, which is my actual real point for the evening, is especially if you have children, no matter their age, please have them reading the original copies of books if you can get your hands on them. It's hard to find access to these things. Most bookstores are not carrying old copies of books. They're always reprints. I actually downloaded a book today that I've read a couple times, and I was listening to it on Audible, and the language, they changed the words, and I was like, what the heck? And they changed important words, and I know because I had read this book several times as a teenager, and I'm
what, like well-regulated?
What's that?
Did they change the word well-regulated as government
kind of
oversight?
Similar to that, though. Yeah, it's very similar. And I was like, gosh. And so I immediately started looking for like an old copy of it because I thought this would be a good book for my kids, or at least Zach, to read. But I'm like, I can't present it to him in this way because they've changed the language to be of 2024. And I'm like, this is crazy to me that they're literally changing. And it's like one word here, one word there, but it changes the whole meaning of these paragraphs and the whole presentation of this book. And it's about some historical events in our country. And I'm like, this is kind of crap. And maybe the history was wrong before. I don't know. And it's like, that's why I'm like, gosh, I just wish I had more time to do a deep dive. And
that's okay.
Bring back the encyclopedias.
At least you're not reading books where Huck Finn is now black, right? So that's be played by a black. Denzel Washington will be playing Huck Finn in recreation of Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer will be a lesbian Vietnamese woman with one leg, as she lost her leg with a U.S. made mine. It's horrible, just sad.
And now her only goal is to attend the pride parades, but she can't do it while hopping. It's too far. So
she's she's taking her spirit out of her body through an exorcism process, and she'll be recreating into a woman who looks like Scarlett Johansson, who's doing TikTok videos named One Christine, and she'll be doing
that's what the one means, one leg. Yeah.
Tom Sawyer. That's right. So a one-legged lesbian Vietnamese woman. It's going to be beautiful, folks. Emmy, Tony Award, and Oscar all in one film. It's going to be beautiful, folks. Thanks for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. Remember, watch this. Don't leave. Here it is. Merry Christmas.
Adjusting transmitter.
That's not the one. That's not this
When
one.
we made the Documents of Freedom collection, we had no idea how popular it would be, selling almost 150 units. We had to come up with something else, and we thought the republic for which it stands would be a great testament to the first.
We went back to pfcflag.com and Jason and team because they did such a great job with the box the first time. They surpassed their original creation. We started with the Book of Virtue from Benjamin Franklin, one of his great literary works, and then followed it up with the American flag. It's all about etiquette and pride, how to take care of the flag and the one you own. The Emancipation Proclamation by Abraham Lincoln also. These books are encased in leather bound, they are hardback, and they are beautiful. They're available right now for $74.99, and this is a limited run. They will ship September 1st. We can't wait for you to get yours. Folks, do me a favor, stop on by thedumbshow.com. We've got hats, shirts, and also those cool books. We go out with Wimkin every single night. Listen, quick story. We're all owners of Wimkin. And it's funny is that a couple of people reached out to Jason and said, do we have new bosses? Are you my boss anymore? And he's like, yeah, what are you talking about? He's like, we watched the Dumb Show and I guess we have new ownership. He's like, no. They're partial owners. They have ownership shares, but they don't own the entire company. But
we would like to make the rules.
Yeah, we want to. I mean,
absolutely will make rules.
I look at it this way.
Friday is grass skirt day.
Yeah,
Right.
and lesbian transsexuals who Vietnamese who look like Scarlett Johansson is going to be on Wednesdays. It's a small demographic, but it's growing. But hey, we got 125 shares. We can do a hostile takeover anytime. So you know what? Jason's employees, we'll fucking see. How about that? We'll let you know. You'll get a letter from us. We'll let you know. But we love Wimkin, and Wimkin is free speech network. You can go on there. It's just like Facebook. Our app is going to be tied into it, integrated with it. Wimkin has been such a great force for us. The reason why our live is growing so much is because of Wimkin. I don't know if you saw this tonight, but we had 225 people on, and then plus all of Wimkin. So it's because of those people jumping on Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and helping us out. So if you have not had a chance, this is a funny video. If you liked our humor tonight, this one is good. We'll close on this. Good night, Amy, Leroy. I always love our Mondays. Let's hope that we don't wake up to a Christmas present full of Iranian shit all over Israel. Here's your video. Don't leave. Good night, everybody.
Good night, y'all.
Are you tired of being constantly banned off of every social media platform for saying facts only to be proven right 6 months later after you already had to create a new account? Tired of Fuckerberg robot AI-looking bitch constantly putting you in Facebook jail? Or maybe a geriatric old bastard who shits his pants in front of the Pope became the resident-in-chief because his crack addict, traitorous son had complete media silence about traitorous actions and backdoor deals with the big guy. And those bastards ban you for sharing the story. If you said yes to 2 of the 3 above, you don't need to circle back like a failed White House spokesperson who has 2 alcoholic drinks for a name. Up in Wimkin, we think it's fair not to sell your data to China, even though their president is super inclusive and named Xi. We kind of have a problem with the whole harvesting organs, slave labor, and communism. We also don't compromise you or get your kids to do stupid and dangerous trends. So you don't have to find out secondhand your kid Johnny is an idiot. Look no further than Wimkin. Made and housed in the USA, Wimkin offers all the features of Facebook and more, with complete data privacy and safe for your whole family. Download us on your app store today and join the community of users who value privacy.
Very soon, you will be able to download our video on the App Store. And the Dumb Show app is coming. Jason is working on it. He needs to work harder or I'm going to fire him and just, it's my company now. So since that's the word. Amy, love you. Leroy, love you. Folks, 10%. We're 10% to our goal. linktapgo.com/thedumbshow. If you like the show, please donate. Leroy, Amy, anything else?
Nope. Love you guys. Please donate. I'll see you guys. Do you want me here tomorrow? What's tomorrow? Tuesday.
Do you want to be here? It's Tuesday. Somebody, listen
I
listen
think
to me.
Leroy was going to do Tuesdays. I'm going to do Wednesday.
Listen, as me being your boss of Wimkin, you guys need to understand. I don't care when you show up. Just fucking show. Just tell me you're going to be here. Hey, Matt, I'm coming on tonight. The answer is yes. It's kind of like Scarlett Johansson saying, hey, I want to have sex with you. Yes is the answer. Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes. Good night.
Okay. Good night, guys. Love you.
Love you guys.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, Unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.